Are you interested in real estate investing but not quite sure where to get started? Do you want to get the know-hows on creating ongoing passive income using the buy and hold strategy? Hi, I'm Janice Bowles, licensed realtor and co-founder of B Premier Ventures, a real estate development and consulting firm where we buy and beautify distressed real estate, renovate it, and resell for profit. With over 15 years of investing experience, B Premier has extensive knowledge in rural land development, fix and flips, and rental acquisitions. B Premier's current portfolio consists of properties within Florida and Virginia. Our firm's services includes investor project consulting, project management, and group coaching. For more information, visit our website at bpremierventures.com and schedule a complimentary discovery session or subscribe to our email list. It's free. Follow me on Instagram at Janice Bowles for additional real estate investing tips. B Premier Ventures, we buy and beautify.
Welcome to tonight's episode of the Let's Do It Talk Show. It's your girl, Irene Peterson, the CEO and founder of Do It, delivering on ideas and thoughts. And you know what I do in a nutshell, right? I help to turn dreamers into doers. And I do it from two aspects. I do it from the aspect of career development, resume writing, interview preparation. You have an issue on your job? I'm your girl. And then I also do it from the aspect of business. You're looking to start a business. You have some ideas and some thoughts, but you don't know how to bring them into fruition. You have a business and you're looking for a marketing strategy. I'm your girl. Here at the Let's Do It Talk Show, we were primarily created for entrepreneurs, right? However, we quickly realized that the entrepreneur is a whole person. So we focus on faith, we focus on finances, we focus on the future, and we also focus on family and relationship. Tonight is the first Monday of the month, so you know what we do? It's all about faith. It's all about faith. So we're going to be talking about wholeness tonight. So yes, we're going to break it down and go into some deep conversation. But you know what I do before I get started in the show, right? I talk about my weekend. So I have a video to share with you all the different things I did over the weekend. And first, shout out to all of the birthdays. All of the birthdays, including Let's Do It Talk Show. So we are celebrating 2 years. And as I posted, we are almost at 100 shows. The crazy thing is, I did not realize how many until last night as I was preparing for the post. I was like, let me count up. And when I got to 90, I was like 91, 92. So I was surprised myself. So thank you to everyone who commented. It has been a ride, a very enjoyable one. And I'll replay the video again during the commercial. Birthdays. So shout out to my girl, Wandy Swinson. That's my girl from years back, and we have some stories to share and some stories to tell. And we always talk about we're going to write a book together. And then also shout out to Dr. Stacy N.C. Grant. Virtual parties, hands down. 7 p.m. to 12:02 a.m. Rock every minute, every moment of it. Y'all, she had 10 DJs.
Wow.
10 DJs. And each two of them went through every era. And when I tell you, this right here was a dance floor. It was amazing. Also, I cooked a little bit. Y'all know I'm doing my cooking thing. So pasta and chicken, which was delicious. I'm so into the sauces now and the spices. So I just be in there playing and mixing and making up stuff and tasting along the way. And oh my God, that sauce was amazing. But shout out to Sequoia. She's the first one that started me with even understanding how to do that. Y'all know I just started cooking in March, right? So that was that. The crab. Did y'all see the size of the crab? So on the picture, I purposely showed my hand next to it. My friend gets crabs from all the way out in Maryland. And when I tell you the size of those bad boys are like the size of my hand. So I got a chance to spend some time with my good girlfriend, my best friend, Tina Johnson, and we ate crabs. And then I brought some home. So I was able to party to the party of Dr. Stacy with those crabs. So, celebrations are going to be going all month long. October is my month of celebration. It'll be my 29th year in the federal government.
Wow.
It'll be 5 years at the end of the month for Do It, delivering on ideas and thoughts business. So celebrations galore. But that's to come later on. So let's come to do what we came to do today. So we're going to be talking about wholeness, and we have a very important guest with us. I've been trying to make this show happen with this title for a moment, and we've been going back and forth with it. So none other than Reverend Irene Ford Smith. Thank you, Reverend Ford, for being here with us today. Can you just give a quick overview of who you are?
Well, I'm Reverend Irene Smith, aka Miss Irene from a Young Peeps, as I always say.
Okay.
I am an associate pastor at Mount Eden Baptist Church, and that is actually my home church, the church that I joined long before I ever got into the ministry. And so God is just blessed, and I was able to come into the ministry, preach my first sermon December 25th, 1999, Christmas Day.
Wow.
Wow, I'll never forget. And it's just been a joy and a blessing, and God has just done awesome things in my life. Currently, I am the creator and CEO for Generationally Speaking, a talk show where we discuss life issues. And so it's featured on the Now Network. I also have a YouTube channel. So if you're out there listening, go to my YouTube channel, hit that subscription
Awesome.
button for Generationally Speaking. And so God has just been good. I'm married, and I have three sons, Melvin Jr. and Jason and Eric. And then I have three grandsons, Jason and Eric and Chase. And then God blessed me with some beautiful girls, Michaela, Unique and Lyric, and Malaysia, my granddaughter. So I've just been blessed to have great family, great friends, awesome friends that I've had for 20, 30 years. So it's just been a blessing. And he continues to bring young people my way that keep me young and keep me on my toes and keep me up to date with everything that's going on. So I can stay up on the conversation that's being had and know what they're talking about. So it's just been a blessing.
And that's great. And I actually was reading on your website the whole foundation and the purpose of your business to bridge the gap. I love that.
Yes.
I love that. So I knew like that was the name of it, and I understood like your awards gala. Have you how you have the older elders, and then you have the younger people. So I got all that, but I never put it together when I and then when I read your website, I was like, oh my goodness, that's what this
Yes.
is. So
Yes.
that's amazing in itself, and I love what you're doing. And I had the honor of being one of the awards recipients, which was a
Yes.
surprise. I thought I was in trouble when you told me to come to your office, and then you gave me a letter. I was like, I'm in big trouble. So thank you so much for that. That was truly an honor.
Well,
Oh yeah.
I think let me just say this. I think it's important that the my generation, the baby boomers, that it's time for us to step back a little bit and hear the younger generation, and then to because we'll garner a lot from them, and then we can share our life journey with them,
Right.
and in having that conversation, we're both able to grow. We're both able to grow. And I really think it's time for us, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to recognize the older generations who have made impact in their communities, and then also recognize the up and coming young entrepreneurs who are doing it. And I'm just excited about it.
Yes, 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 yes. Definitely. It's so much that's going on. Even the little teeny babies. When I interact with the youth entrepreneur, it just warms my soul. They are so spirited and involved in what they're doing from all different aspects of it. Not just the creativity, they're watching their money and so many other things. So I love, love, love seeing that. So the topic, wholeness, wholeness, what does it look like? So first I must say that this was the Bible study breakout session that you did in, I think it was November, December of 2018. And every time I was like, I want you to come on the show to talk about that. What's the name of the title? And I was like, nope, that's not it. No, that's not it. So finally this has happened. But it was because the Bible lesson blessed me, and the whole environment, it shifted because it wasn't just you talking to us as the congregation. You made us answer questions as we were going, and it had everyone engaged. So definitely a blessing. And I remembered it, just could not remember the title. I was scrolling through my books because I keep copious notes, and bingo, we found it earlier this week. So glory to God for that. So wholeness, what does it look like? And the first component that we're going to talk about is, have you accepted brokenness as wholeness?
Yeah. So, wholeness, this book, this Bible study was actually based on a book written by Ture Roberts, who is the author, and he titled the book Wholeness. And he talks about his own life experiences and how he came to the point where he recognized that he was broken. When you looked at him from the outside, he was a successful young man. God had opened doors for him. In fact, he was pastoring. And in the pastoring, that's when he began to recognize that he had a fractured mirror, as he called it. And that fractured mirror had to do with he didn't have a good relationship with his father. He had certain fears that he had dealt with as a young child. And he had stuffed those things down. And they started to come forward and come up. And that's when he recognized when that he was broken. And his mom asked him to go actually to the doctor because he hadn't had a physical in a number of years. And he decided, okay, I'll go to the doctor because what do I have to worry about? I know that I'm healthy. Look at me. But he went to the doctor and found out he was not so healthy. And I think that is the first thing that we recognize is that we can have this facade. And man, this facade can look good. I mean, this facade can dress nice, drive nice, live well. But when we get to know the inner person, we find out just how broken inside they are and how many things they're wrestling with. And sometimes our success, the drivenness that we have, is because we are afraid. And so we are driven, just driven. And so he talks about what can we do to become whole. And I thought about the John 5, verses 1 through 9, as at the pool of Bethesda when Jesus met the man who had been laying there for 38 years, laying there, and he knew that for him that the stirring of the water, the movement of the water, the turbulence of the water was a time for him to go in. If he got in, he could be whole. For 38 years he laid there. For 38 years he was satisfied with his condition. Can I tell you that sometimes we can go 5, 10, 15, 20 years satisfied with our position, even though we know it's a place of brokenness. We begin to accept that it's okay. I think Pastor preached on that on Sunday, talking about we in some relationships.
Yes, he did.
And we know these things are, we know that we're not happy. We know that it's not good for us. But we've allowed ourselves to become complacent in that relationship. So this was this man's posture, sitting there by the water, by this pool of Bethesda. And so when Jesus comes up to him and Jesus asks him the question, do you want to be whole? Do you want to be healed? And I'm sitting there reading the scripture like, Jesus, really? I mean, every now and then I have to take the Bible and look at it like, Jesus. The man been there for 38 years. I mean, you would have thought, is there another question you could have asked me?
Right.
But Jesus shows us in the question where this man was in his posture and where he was in his thoughts. And sometimes he asks us the same question. Do you want to be made whole? Because sometimes we don't. We are satisfied.
It is definitely a mentality. It's a mentality. So a man thinketh, so it is. And it's so true with that, your perspective. You can look at a situation, nothing is perfect, right? But if you focus on the part that's faulty, rather than focusing on the part that's fixed, then you're going to dwell on that instead of utilizing what you have to do what you need to do to make it. You're going to focus on what you don't have and sit there and trying to figure out what you don't have and how you can get that. That's the mindset that so many people have that drives them into craziness or, like you said, complacentness and not being able to move and feeling stuck.
Right. So this man had been sitting there. And he was sitting there, and then he says, he says to Jesus, yeah, but every time I get ready to, now that's the excuse. Every time we can come up with excuses like, well, did you make that appointment to go and sit down and talk with someone? Well, I was going to, but.
Right.
I know there's something, and then we'll say, I know there's something wrong with me, but. I know that I need help, but so this story, this narrative, I don't like using the word story, but this narrative that is included in John shows us that we come up with these excuses of why we don't want to be.
Right.
Sometimes it's fear that causes us not to want to be, because it means I got to move from a place that I know, and I got to go to a place where I'm not comfortable. And that's the first thing. And then you got to acknowledge, I have a problem. I know that this is what I need. And so now you got to get busy.
Yes.
Yes. You have an issue, and you go from one relationship to another relationship, one friendship to another friendship, and it breaks up every time. And the common denominator is you.
Yeah.
Well, if the common denominator is you, hey, then you got to examine it. You got to examine it.
Yeah, and that is so true. In terms of all of the subtopics kind of like roll together, but one of them being stuck. So let's go to the next one. Are you stuck due to hidden or unresolved issues? Now, I thought that was so powerful because it's so many little kids that didn't get healed that grow up to be grown up, still unhealed, and they are stuck. And it's something from years ago that they never got addressed. And then those times when they sit down and really realize it and understand it, it's something from way back that led to something, that built onto something, that became comfortable for you at that given time, and you just build on because that became your norm. When all the time, when you step back and look at it, it's abnormal as 2 left feet. Mm-hmm. But it's that whole thing of really getting to it and understanding that the old wounds that you have to heal those. You have to heal those. And I'm a witness for that. So I know that to be like 100% true.
And the most difficult part of unearthing those past hurts is to make the mental decision to do it. Because when you begin to unearth past hurts, it means you're going to relive some stuff that you've stuffed down over the years. You're going to have to relive some stuff that you've tried not to bring into your psyche, you're going to have to accept some things that occurred in your life. And but when you, as a child, you see it one way, and as you get older, if you will unearth it and look at it, then you're able to decipher and to understand the whole situation. I think about children who are molested and they don't tell anybody, and then they move on into lifestyles where either they're promiscuous, or they find themselves moving into a battered situation, or an alternative lifestyle,
Yeah.
because of this hurt. And part of it was shame, because as a child, you know it's wrong, but I'm shamed. I'm not sure. But part of it's because they don't have the type of relationship that they need with a parent who's open enough for to receive what the child has to say, even though it might be the uncle or the aunt that did it.
Yeah.
So and so this child grows up, but that part of that child has not been healed, and so you got to go back. It's the same thing sometimes with our ability to feel good about ourselves. We have to ask ourselves, why don't I feel good about myself? And sometimes when we start to go back and walk back through our early years, our formative years, we find out that somebody spoke a word, and that word stuck with us. Somebody might have said, "You're too dark. Your hair too nappy. You're not tall enough. You're just like this person. You're just like that." And it stayed in your psyche. And it impacted you from that point on. And so from that point on, you begin to not value you. And when you don't value you, when you don't put no value, when you don't attach any value to yourself, let me tell you what you're going to do. You're going to be out there stripping it down, shaking it down, all kinds of stuff, wear all kinds of stuff, just so people can see you or accept you. You don't see any value in what you're doing and how you're presenting yourself. And so you have to go back and unearth whatever it was. For me, as a young girl coming up, my mother was an alcoholic. And I love sharing my testimony because I believe it will help somebody.
Right.
And so because of that, I never wanted to be viewed like that. So I became an overachiever. An overachiever. I made sure that I was an honor roll student. I made sure and the thing was so crazy. I never wanted you to see me as pretty. That was an insult. I wanted you to see me as smart. My mother was pretty. I didn't want to be pretty. I wanted to be smart. And so subsequently, I never viewed myself as being pretty. I'm gonna be smart. That's what I'm gonna be. And so it was years later that I had to come back and to understand that, first of all, my mother loved me and she did the best she could, but she had her trauma. And once I understood her trauma, then I was like, oh, okay, that her story and my story are different. And so I was blessed, to be free of that, so that I could live and that I could be me and all of me and be okay with it.
Yes. So we have some great comments online. One that I want to say from Zakia Butts. She says some people don't accept when children tell them because they feel their own inadequacy or shame.
Yeah.
And that is so true. And it's funny in terms of how this go, because for me, and I did not realize it until I was older, like the opposite happened to me. Ever since I was a little teeny girl, my family and my friends were like, "Oh, you're so smart. Oh, you're so cute," and so on and so forth. I kid you not. When Oprah Winfrey had her special about the dark skin thing, I thought it was a made up show. I never had. I'm serious. And I'm the darkest of the darkest of the darkest. So I'm like, if I never experienced that, so that's when I really, really, really understood that what you put in someone's environment, what you put inside of kids,
Mhm.
That's what they believe. I believed I was the prettiest and the smartest, but here's
That's
the
right.
mistake. I thought everybody was pretty and smart. And so and I'm serious, it was when I got older and people would be like ugly to other, and I would be like, what are you talking about? So that was like the flip side of it. But from me hearing of the stories, as I became older, it helped me to truly, one, that I was favored and blessed. But then
Mhm.
from the other aspect, it helped me to better understand people when they're going through different things. Like we are a sum of all of our total experiences. So that's why we experience things different ways. So that's a very, very very good point that you brought up and made. And it's all in what you instill in someone.
Yeah, it's important that we affirm our children. It's
Yes.
important that we let our children know, first of all, that they're smart, that they're
Mm-hmm.
intelligent. But we also let our children know the importance of being respectful, respectful to themselves,
Yes.
respectful to other people. You let them know all of these things. You, as a parent, that is our responsibility. As grandparents, it is our responsibility. As aunts and uncles, it's our
Yes.
responsibility
Yes. Yes.
to
Yes. Yes.
affirm
Yes.
our
Yes.
children, even though they may not be honor roll. It doesn't mean that they're not smart. Even though they may not be honor roll, it
Yeah.
still doesn't mean that this child is not smart. It simply means that the child learns in a different way.
Right.
And so, but when a parent affirms that, it makes the difference for the child.
Yeah. Yeah. It certainly does. You can live in the same household and go through the same thing. Like, I'm gonna get off of this, but like people always look at the kids who um were negatively impacted.
Mhm.
You have to be careful of the kids that it positively, like, that were positively fed also, because their siblings and their cousins, like, I only wanted to be a little bit smart. I didn't want to be smart, 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 because I didn't want to have to argue with them or drain this, drain that, like that. And even like it grew into my adulthood. In my adulthood, I don't really particularly care for large crowds. I like small, intimate. In so many different ways that I see it, in me as an adult. But when you realize that you work on it and you go through your process to build up to be like, God made me who I am. I'm living for Him. So you go through your moments, but it's not only like the wholeness is not only like from the broken part. It's
Right.
also from the people not fully like yielding to
Yeah.
what God really designed them to be because of other things that have happened to them, or from don't want to be perceived as the goody two shoes or things like that. So I mean, definitely the negative part is bad because you can see it from all different angles. But I also think people miss the fact when it's a smart child or something. My mother used to tell me, she probably gonna get me when she see this. I'm sorry, mom, just being honest. She used to be like, I don't need to go and talk to your teachers. You have the honor roll. I need to go and talk to your sister teachers. So, and I used to be like, but it's a whole
Right.
different story. But that it impacted me.
That's very true because the parent has to go and talk to both the child who makes the honor roll and the child who
Right.
doesn't. And what happens sometimes is the child who doesn't make the honor roll, we have to be very careful because then they start to associate themselves with like-minded people, and they end up going down a path that they didn't have to go down simply because the kids who were smart or the kids wouldn't receive them.
Right.
And so then we got a problem. So
Right.
as a parent, we have to make sure that
Right.
we affirm our children in every area. They may not be, so maybe they're not honor roll here, but we have to find out. What is it? Maybe this child needs another learning environment.
Mm-hmm.
We know we're so old school that we go talk to the teacher, we go do and we beat the child. You better, but that's never the answer, and it doesn't change anything. In
Not at
fact,
all.
it damages the child even more. So we have to go back as parents now and recognize. Let me look at this child because no two children are the same. I always say God balances you out. He gives you one where you say, yes, Lord, and he gives you one where you say,
oh, Lord. Yes, Lord, and oh, Lord. That's definitely a true fact. Mm-hmm.
But this wholeness is I think that we have to constantly affirm our children, and then as adults, we have friends that we know are broken.
Yes.
And we say, oh, that person is so thirsty. That's some kids language now I'm using. But
I hear you.
We know our friends, and what we do is we try to figure out how to interact with them instead of saying, you know what, maybe you should talk to somebody and try to figure out what's going on. And when they do share with us and they start to share their trauma, sometimes we don't know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So as a good friend, when a person is trying to get to that place of wholeness, we've got to be able to say to that person, you need to make an appointment and go meet with someone where you can find out where this trauma comes from, because it stays with you from one relation to another, one friendship to another, one job to another. So you got to figure out where you can't hold an employment. You can't get along with anybody for so long. I can't stay at that church. I can't. Listen, we got to figure it out. We got to figure out. And I'll walk with you to help you figure it out. Because we know that there's a problem. Then the greatest thing is trying to get that friend to go get the help they need. They'll be like that man, 38 years, sitting, saying every time I get ready to, I don't. And then and Torre brought up a point. He said, and we say to ourselves, I'm okay. And that's the biggest lie you can tell yourself.
Yeah.
It's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
But we say, I'm okay, because we don't want to deal with the issues. And we have to deal with it. You meet people who are 60, 70 years old, and they still have this trauma from when they were children because they never dealt with it.
Yes.
They kept saying, well, I just moved past it. But you have not moved past it. But we say that I moved past it, but you have not moved past it. And everybody who's coming your way, they know you haven't moved past it because they feel the impact of it.
And it'll keep showing up. It will keep showing up time and time again. It's just like weeds in your garden, not properly treated. Right. They're going to sprout up, and that's how this thing happens. So people have to really understand to get healed and talk through their issues. Not talking about them does not make them go away.
No.
Like, it does not make them go away. And it's really sad in this day and time when people are still stuck in that mindset of not being able to and secretive. So they're suffering alone and don't want anyone to know like what's going on with them, and they end up falling into depression and so many different other things that just takes it out of control. So
we see the result, people becoming alcoholics, people becoming drug addicts, just the all kinds of depression. Yes, all of these things are a result of brokenness, a fractured mirror of how they view themselves. And so, Torrey Roberts, again, he was a pastor, and he said, I'm broken. And I love that. I love the fact that he was being so transparent, because it frees the rest of us to say, listen, if I got some broken areas, I gotta fix it. I gotta do the work. I gotta unearth this thing. Maybe I need to go talk to a professional or somebody at my church, to help me to unearth it, to deal with it, and then to be done with it. See, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Ladrine partied last night, so we she partied hard last night.
I sure did. But yeah, so it's just again, like the mindset of people and understanding and being able to really be open-minded to shift. When people are stuck, the hardest thing for them to do is openly make that shift because they don't admit to themselves. Like, you can tell fibs to everybody, and you can get away with it sometimes, but like telling fibs to yourself, that's not even that's just an oxymoron. Like, it's not going to work, but you begin to trick yourself so much that you begin to believe that it's true, and you begin to suffer into different things. So people really have problems. People really have problems.
So this man sitting by the pool of Bethesda for 38 years, he had a problem. We knew he had a problem. And he said, but he made excuses. Every time I get ready to go into the water, somebody always gets in front of me. We can find somebody to blame. It's not me. It's the person. If they wouldn't act like that, I wouldn't react like that. So we can find those reasons, but the truth of the matter is there's some other things that we have to deal with. And so Jesus, Jesus asked him again, do you want to be made whole?
Right.
And so now his wholeness, he thought, was based on the stirring of the water. But the water ain't being stirred.
Right.
So the healing wasn't in the stirring. So Jesus says, take up your bed. Woo! Take up your bed. Take up your mat and walk. Take it. Take it up. Show everybody. I was once on my bed of affliction. I was once bound by this demon of sin. I was once bound by drugs. I was once bound by alcohol. I was once bound by what people thought about me. I was once bound about how I appeared to other people. I was once bound on what I looked like. But now I'm free.
Yes. Yes.
He got up and walked. And so today, right now, somebody is watching, and you know somebody who needs to be whole. They need to be whole. They've lived long enough in conflict and confusion. They need to be made whole. And tonight's the night.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a matter of saying to yourself, just like every addict, it has to say, I have a problem. That's the first thing you have to say is, I got a problem and I need help. That's the first step. So once you say that and you stop making excuses like this man, every time. I mean, do you have friends that go to conferences? I mean, how many women conferences do you have to go to before you decide you're going to be free? I mean, people go to conferences for this and for that, for this and that, and they come out of those conferences and they do the same thing and nothing has changed. It was so good. I learned so much. I got notes, but nothing changes.
Yeah.
All you got is some paper.
Right. No action.
No action.
No execution.
Like Jesus tells this man to get up. Now remember, he's laying there for 38 years.
Right.
And Jesus says, get up. Man, the last conference you went to was enough for you to get up.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick commercial break. Right. And then on the other side, it ties right into what you were saying. Are you blaming others for what you allow? So we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Are you interested in real estate investing but not quite sure where to get started? Do you want to get the know-hows on creating ongoing passive income using the buy and hold strategy? Hi, I'm Janice Bowles, licensed realtor and co-founder of B Premier Ventures, a real estate development and consulting firm where we buy and beautify distressed real estate, renovate it, and resell for profit. With over 15 years of investing experience, B Premier has extensive knowledge in rural land development, fix and flips, and rental acquisitions. B Premier's current portfolio consists of properties within Florida and Virginia. Our firm's services includes investor project consulting, project management, and group coaching. For more information, visit our website at bpremierventures.com and schedule a complimentary discovery session or subscribe to our email list. It's free. Follow me on Instagram at Janice Bowes for additional real estate investing tips. B Premier Ventures, we buy and beautify.
So, welcome back to the show, everyone. I hope you all have been enjoying the first half. This was one of my favorite Bible study lessons, so I'm real excited about engaging in this topic. So we have two more topics that we're going to go in and address. So please make sure that if you haven't already done so, share our information and make sure that you yourself are following us on Instagram, Facebook, and that you are also signed up for our YouTube page. Subscribe to our YouTube page because that's where we store all of our previous episodes. So let's jump right back into it, Reverend Smith. So as we talked about the man by the pool of Bethesda, he made excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse all of these years, and Jesus gave him a command, did it, and it was like done. That's what happens so many times in our lives. We end up blaming other people for various things. So we can jump right into that topic.
Yeah, I think when you start thinking about blame, we can go back to Genesis 2, when we looked at Adam and Eve, and Satan deceived them, and they hiding in the garden.
Right.
Sometimes we think we can hide from God, but you can't hide from God. You can't make a room dark enough that God can't see you. You can't travel to another state. You can't travel to another town. You can't travel to another country. God is everywhere, and He sees you, baby. Yes. I know you think He doesn't, but He does. I'm telling you, I had to come to realize that He's right there. And so when this blame, when God confronted Adam, and Adam said, it was that woman you gave me. And the woman said, well, it was that serpent. And so, then sin came into the world. So, but this blame, we still play this game of blaming. And we have to stop blaming other people. We have to stop blaming other people. We have to take ownership. And when we take ownership, that's when we really begin to grow. This man at the pool of Bethesda, Jesus took away his excuses.
Right.
And He asked him straight. He didn't say, well, what about, does Sam want you to be whole? What about John over here? You think John wants you? No, He said, do you? And so you have to take away the blame, and you have to answer for yourself. Yes. And once we do that, we can become whole. It's easy to blame. That's the easiest thing to do. I would have, but this person, no. We always have the opportunity to make a decision, and we have to make that decision for ourselves. That I'm decided. I've been going down this road long enough.
Yeah.
And we have to be honest. If you're mad with God, guess what? Say it.
Because He already knows it.
He already knows. And He can begin to heal you because He already knows about your anger. He already knows. And we serve a big God. Yeah. And so you just, identify and say, Lord, I have this problem. And I need to be whole, and stop blaming other folk and decide it's time now for me to take up my bed. It's time for me to own up. And here we are in this COVID. Locked down, can't go no place, stuck with some folk that we not sure we even like. But we there. We in that room, we in that house, and it seemed like as big as that house was, those square footage ain't big enough no more. Because we are now confronted with our issues. And we now have to decide if we're going to deal with them. And a lot of I know people are divorcing because they said, I don't like this person. Well, this is the person that you said I do to. And you got to go back and the two of you got to sit together and see whether or not there is a reason for you to remain in a marriage. But we have to take a personal examination right now of who we are. I mean, this is a good time. You can't go no place. You might as well just sit down and say, Lord, show me me. And when he begins to show you, don't be scared. Just say, okay, God, that's me. I mean, he'll show you if you'll allow him to. And then, begin to ask yourself, do I need to make an appointment to go and talk with somebody? I know, I hear somebody saying, well, what about prayer? Yeah, pray. Yeah. Always pray. Yeah. Pray first. But in your prayer, let the Lord lead you. And when he leads you, listen. Prayer is good. But as James said, faith without works is dead. So now you can have faith. I want you to have faith in God. But at the same time, I want you to go and do the work. Exactly. To get yourself whole. And you got to do that. And then it's time now for us to establish some goals for ourselves. Set aside some time for prayer. Set aside some time for Bible study. But establish some other personal goals for your life. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Who do you want to become? What is it, this passion that God has inside of you that you've been pushing down and pushing down? When I met Ladrine at that Bible study, I did not know her. And we were talking about people who had dreams. And I asked the people, I said, what's your passion? What's your dream? And we went around that room and people began to share what their dream was. One lady I remembered so vividly, she said she wanted to have a dance studio. This was something that had been inside of her for many years. And I said, well, what have you done? Yeah. And she hadn't done anything. She was just stuck with a dream. And there are too many people who are just stuck with a dream. And when I got to Ladrine, God is good. You see, I didn't know Ladrine was going to be there, but God knew. I didn't necessarily know that was the question I was going to ask, but God knew that was the question that needed to be asked. So somebody out there, you got a dream you've been stuck on for too many years now. And so now you got this period where you can't do nothing else. It's time to dust it off and look at that dream again and see what God has said to you about your passion. And when I got to Ladrine, she said, well, I help people fulfill their dreams. I said, what? What? God is good. Can I tell you, he always makes sure that he puts the exact people in right in front of you to help you if you will decide to do it. You got to overcome your fear of it, because the first thing you're going to say, I can't do it. I don't have the resources. I don't have. You can go down the list of I don't have. So But God has said, if you trust me, I'll open the door for you. No, we say that. Oh, God will open the windows of heaven and pour you out of bed. But you don't trust it enough to believe it. It's the living word, and you got to allow it to live inside of you. And when God calls him, so Ladrine said, I help people. I was like, wait a minute. You help people? She said, let's do it. And I was like, just do it? She said, no, let's do it. I'm like, oh, okay. And so I said to the lady, you need to talk to her. And there were a couple of other people. I remember one guy talking about, he eventually wanted to have a restaurant. He wanted to have a bed and bath and all of these things. I said, well, when are you going to do it? Well, I'm thinking about it. I think when I retire, I'm doing it. Listen, if you're working and you got a vision, start working on your vision. Absolutely. Please don't wait for retirement. Start working on your vision now, and allow the Lord. He will open every door that needs to be open. I tell you, Ladrine, here they are. Ladrine is celebrating her second anniversary. Can I tell you, on day one, I bet she can remember all her inhibitions. Everything, is it going to go right? What's going to happen? What if I crack? But she kept going, and here it is. She said, I started counting. I was like 90 shows, and here it is. God, and so we've got to establish some goals, and we've got to map out a pathway, and we got to trust God in the process. Pray along the way. God will bring to you people, and now He may not bring money, but He'll bring people who can give you knowledge, and knowledge is priceless. He can bring people in your pathway who will give you wisdom to tell you what you can do, and that's priceless. You can't put a price on that. And all you got to do is trust Him in the process. And too many of us, we go, and it's as they say, it's too many dreams out in the cemetery.
I know.
Ooh. I said, when I die, I'm going to die empty. What do you mean I'm going to die? When I die, I'm going to die empty. Everything that I thought I wanted to do, I've tried it.
That's me.
I get an amen from somebody out there.
That's me. So amen. My last cooking, like I kid you not, like I'm 49 years old. I have never cooked. My mother cooked every day. I got married when I was young. My husband cooked. I never cooked. So I had, since the split, I had been going out to eat, going out to dinner, dining, and I was good. Then COVID came.
Yeah.
And I couldn't go out. Like, I tell everybody I did not have salt nor pepper in my cabinets. All of these shallots and all of these, I was like, what is a shallot? So I would do like the food thing. I can't think of it right now, but I would have them go pick up my food because I didn't even know what to look for in the store. So I was like, let them do the struggling. But then, you talking about, so this is everything in life, but we're talking about my food journey. Everybody in place to help me. First was Didi, and she made some spaghetti, and she was like, I was like, I want some. She was like, come and get it. She thought I was playing. I went over her house and got the spaghetti. And then I was like, can you teach me how to make the spaghetti? She taught me how to make spaghetti. Reverend Rice, I was like, can you show me how to do this? My mother, like, so everybody would go, and then I started going on Instagram and everything. When I tell you I can throw down, like I can throw down, I never, and I'm serious, I never thought that I would cooking, like no, like yeah. So yeah. So everything that God has along your pathway, there are the right people, the right tool, the right resources, and the right time, and then the right thought that comes into you that makes everything happen. I tell everybody, I just be like, God, what do you want me to do today? Just bring them along and let them go. And it's when we intentional, yes, we have to work, but I'm serious. He will bring the right people in your space to give you what you need. And like you said, it's not always money. That's how people miss the mark. They're looking for like financially, it may come in an underlining way. So yeah, so that was good.
Yeah, you got to be willing, like you said, you have to be willing to put in the work.
Yes.
You have to be willing to put in the work. Listen, nothing is going. It's not going to be easy. You got to be willing to put in the work. You got to be willing to receive some no's. Okay. So when somebody give you a no, don't get mad at them. Don't get an attitude. Don't cuss them out. A no is good because a no will make you grow. I think I said like something there. A no is good.
I like that.
A no will make you grow.
Come on.
You're going to get some no's. You're going to get some people who going to say, no, it's not something I can get behind right now. No, it sounds good, but not right. You got to accept that and be okay with the person and keep moving because remember, it's the passion that God gave you.
Yes.
It's the vision that God gave you, not the other person. Exactly. And so that no is going to help you to grow. And because when you hear the no, go back and say, if they right there, can you give me some feedback on the no? Why not right now? Because that will help you to put yourself in a position that the next time you come, you'll get a yes, or you'll get a yes from somebody else.
Yes.
But don't get mad with people and stop speaking to people or treating them different because they didn't get behind your vision. It's okay. It's not. It wasn't the season for them to get behind your vision. It wasn't the timing for them. They was not the right person.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So you got to be willing to put in the work. You got to be willing to hear no, and you got to be willing to keep on moving.
Yes.
You got to be willing to keep moving forward. Some days, I'm telling you, it's a crawl. And other days, you trying to hold on because, man, things have taken off and
right.
calling you like, what?
Yeah.
And so you gotta be willing to put in the work. My son shared with me, Eric, when he moved into this job he's in now. Well, he's a partner in this tech company, but he talked about how he didn't tell us he left his government job thinking he had a job, and he didn't have the job. The job, something happened. He fell through, and so he never shared that with us. But he kept moving, and he kept doing his own business, working his own business, small little contacts and contacts. And some folk took notice of him and said, "Come on, and we're putting together this tech company. Join us." And he joined them, and man, this thing has blown up. And I mean, the amount of contracts that they're getting and the wealth that they're building is unimaginable. But it wasn't like that at first. You got to put in the work. You got to be diligent. You got to make sure that you stay in contact, that you contact the right people, and have somebody who will be upfront and honest with you. Like Jesus with the man, he confronted them. You need somebody like that.
Right.
I'm telling you, you know what? You're a little off right now.
I'm that person, but my friends, they appreciate it at the end, but they know I'm unbiased, but I'm not going to American Idol you. I'm not going to pretend like you are doing well. That's not my lane.
Yeah. So God is good. And then, you know what? Get your calendar. And, we talk about a vision board. A vision board is good. Get your vision board, but get your calendar. And on that calendar, pen in steps, specific steps that you want to take, that you want to get goals that you want to get accomplished by this date, and then hold yourself accountable to those dates. Keep on praying. Because God, I'm telling you, He'll open the door for you. And we've watched, you've sat back as a bystander and seen Him open doors for other people. If God is not a respecter of person, guess what? He's just waiting on you.
Right.
He's just waiting on you.
That's so true.
He's waiting on you. I've already given you everything.
Right.
Now it's your turn. Faith without works is dead.
And you cannot miss the lessons along the way. And that's why I count it all joy.
Yes.
That is a serious thing. You have to look at everything that happens to you. If it wasn't supposed to happen, then God wouldn't have had let it happen to you. Everything is purpose-filled. So you have to be intentional about what you're doing, but also be observant and obedient.
Right. And then learn how to celebrate yourself.
Yes.
Please celebrate the small victories. Like 2 years, celebrate the big victories. Celebrate. Yeah. I got the next show down. I got another guest. Celebrate your victories, big and small. Celebrate yourself.
That's right.
And be okay with it. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to celebrate yourself. And remember, failure. Ariana Huffington says, failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of success. Ooh, Failure is not the opposite of success, but it is a part of success. You have to stumble. It's a part of growing. When a baby learns how to walk, they take some steps and they fall down and they waddle some more and they fall down. They watch it now. They fall down.
Right.
And then after a while, they going.
And they learn balance. They're learning balance along the way. Yeah. So this has been great. It's like a refresher and a reminder of the very first session that we had, like almost 2 years ago. So I'm so glad that you were able to make it on the show and that we were able to locate the title. This has been a blessing to so many. There's so many comments that are on the line. I go back, and when you have a moment, if you can go back as well. But thank you for being on the show. Please let everyone know your contact information. One of my friends, Major Bandy, he has a show, and he was like, she's good. I was about to say she'll come on your show, but let me do the connection and then you all work that out. But can you please provide your contact information and also the time and date that your show comes on?
So my show comes on Wednesday nights at 9:30 on the nownetwork.org called Generationally Speaking. You can also find me on Instagram at Rev IF Smith. And of course, we're on Facebook, Generationally Speaking. And you can get in touch with Ladrine, and she'll give you my other contact information. I got some old school stuff.
Right, I'll take care of all that. And so, quick thing before we close out, I normally do this to pastors or people of the cloth. I do this thing called Fave 5 and 5. Fave 5 and 5. So it's meant to be quick, so don't be over there taking notes thinking. What is your favorite hymn or song?
My favorite hymn is, let me think. My favorite hymn, I got a lot of them, but Pass Me Not.
Ah, okay.
I love that.
Okay. Who is your favorite gospel singer?
Shirley Caesar.
Come on now. Okay.
Old school.
Can he argue with that? Cannot argue with that at all. Can't argue with that. What about your favorite Bible scripture?
Well, Psalms 34. I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth.
Okay, got you on that one. What about your favorite Bible book?
My favorite book, I'm going to say, is Acts. I love Acts because it's action-packed.
Okay.
It's action-packed.
I was going to ask you why, but you already flipped around and answered that. All right, so here's the last one. Who is your favorite? What's your favorite Bible story or person? And you cannot say Jesus.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I think my favorite Bible lesson is going to be Daniel. And Daniel going into the lion's den, because it reminds me that, all of us, we have these lion dens. And that's
good.
God prepared the lion. He didn't have to prepare Daniel. He prepared the lion. The lion wasn't going to go but so far. So let me tell you, if you feel like you're in that situation, don't worry, kick back, relax, because God got the lion.
That's good. That's real good. That's real. That's really, really good. That's really good. I like that. So again, thank you so much for being on the show. This has been great. Thank you everyone else for tuning into the show tonight. I know that you enjoyed it from the post that you have. Next week we will have our money making Monday, and Sakaja Fanning, who is one of the co-hosts, she is having an event on October the 15th. It's free. All you have to do is sign up. But it's all about the insurances. She's going to talk to you and remind you of the different ways that you can utilize insurance to become rich and do some other things like the rich people do. So she's a financial advisor and financial planner, so she'll be doing that. Also, I have some Do It programs that are actually coming out. So it's going to be a career track and also a business track. So I'll be talking about that on my actual Do It anniversary. So again, thank you all. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms, and I'll see you all next week.